Imagine a world where everything suddenly falls silent. One moment, the earth is alive with the hum of activity. The next, it's as if someone hit the mute button. Not a bird's song, not a car's honk, not even the whisper of the wind through the leaves. An eerie stillness settles over everything, a blanket of quiet that's as unsettling as it is inexplicable. Confusion grips humanity, a collective bewilderment that transcends borders and languages. Fear follows swiftly, a primal instinct that knows silence is not the Earth's natural state. Scientists scramble, trying to figure out what's happening. Is it a strange natural phenomenon, a cosmic event, a silent apocalypse? But their instruments are as quiet as the world around them, offering no answers, no comfort. As the hours stretch into days, the silence remains unbroken, a constant, unnerving companion. And just like that, the world fell into an unnerving silence. In this quiet world, the apocalypse wasn't a loud, chaotic event, but a silent, creeping dread. Imagine a world devoid of sound, not a whisper of wind, not the hum of electricity, not the chirping of birds. The world we knew, a symphony of sounds reduced to a barren, silent wasteland. This is the silent apocalypse, a reality where sound has disappeared and with it so much of what we took for granted. Communication, once as simple as talking across the room, became an insurmountable barrier. Words, once our primary means of connecting with others, became mere symbols on paper. The warmth of a comforting voice, the joy of laughter, the intimacy of a whispered secret, all lost in the silence. Humans, inherently social creatures, were left isolated in their own silent worlds, struggling to express and connect. But the impact went beyond communication. Systems we rely on crumbled under the weight of this silence. The siren's wail, the honking of car horns, the ringing of alarms, all rendered useless. Transportation systems ground to a halt, unable to function without the vital signals of sound. The bustling cities that never slept fell into a deep, eerie silence. The natural world suffered too. Birds that once filled the air with their songs fell silent. Predators that relied on the rustle of leaves or the squeak of prey found themselves starving. The silence created a ripple effect, disrupting ecosystems and leading to a collapse of biodiversity. Daily activities, once mundane, became a struggle. The simple act of cooking became a dangerous task without the sound of a boiling pot or a sizzling pan. Even walking became a hazard, with no audible cues of an approaching car or a barking dog. In this silent world, humanity was left deaf and mute, struggling to survive. The silent apocalypse was not a catastrophic event marked by explosions and chaos, but a creeping dread that stripped away sound, leaving us in a world of silence. The apocalypse wasn't marked by fire and brimstone, but by a world plunged into silence. Imagine waking up one day to a world devoid of sound. The hum of the city, the chirping of birds, the laughter of children, all replaced by an eerie quietness. This was the new reality, the silent apocalypse. The once familiar world transformed into an alien landscape of silence. Life as we knew it came to a grinding halt. The lack of sound brought about an uncanny isolation. Every person was trapped in their own silent bubble. Communication, once taken for granted, became a daunting challenge. Words, once the bridge connecting minds, were now swallowed by the pervasive silence. Fear and uncertainty gripped the hearts of people. The silence wasn't just physical, it was psychological. It crept into the minds, amplifying every doubt, every fear. The silence, so profound, echoed the uncertainty of the future. But humans are nothing if not adaptable. They began to find ways to navigate through this silent apocalypse. Visual communication became paramount. Signs, symbols, and written words became the new languages of the world. People learnt to convey emotions through expressions, to communicate thoughts through written words. The world of music was transformed entirely. Musicians, once weavers of sound, became visual artists, creating symphonies of color and movement. The silent concerts were a testament to human resilience, a beacon of hope in the quiet darkness. Communities began to adapt, finding solace in unity. Silence brought forth an unexpected solidarity. People began to understand the value of community, the strength in unity. Amid the silence, a new society was being born, a society that communicated through visuals, that expressed through actions. The silent apocalypse was a harsh teacher, but it was also a catalyst for change. It forced humanity to adapt, to evolve, to find new ways of communication and expression. It showed us that even in the face of adversity, the human spirit could not be silenced. In silence, humanity had to find a new way to live or face extinction. As the world fell silent, so did the heartbeat of humanity. In the midst of our silent apocalypse, the threads that held our society together started to fray and break. The inability to communicate, to share our thoughts, our fears, our hopes, it was like an unseen force pulling us apart. Imagine the world as a giant tapestry, each thread a line of communication, a connection between people. Now picture those threads being snipped one by one, until all that's left is a pile of disconnected strands. That's what the silent apocalypse was like. It wasn't just the silence that was deafening, it was the isolation, the disconnection, the breakdown of everything we knew. Fear is a powerful motivator, and in the silence, fear thrived. It slithered into our lives, wrapping itself around our hearts, squeezing tighter with each silent day. It bred chaos, a wild, desperate chaos that spread like wildfire, consuming everything in its path. The once vibrant tapestry of our society became a scorched, barren landscape. And amidst this chaos, the human race began to decline. Without communication, without connection, we lost more than just our voices. We lost our ability to cooperate, to solve problems, to innovate, to survive. The silence was more than just an absence of sound. It was an absence of the very things that made us human. But the most terrifying part of the silent apocalypse wasn't the silence itself, it was the realization that the silence was irreversible. That the world as we knew it, the connections we had taken for granted, the vibrancy of human communication was gone. Forever. This wasn't just the end of the world, this was the end of us. The end of humanity, the end of everything we held dear, the end of everything we knew. In the end, the silence wasn't just a lack of noise, it was the end of everything we knew. In the silence we lost more than sound. We lost our world. It's a haunting truth that our narrative has been built around. The sudden and inexplicable loss of all sound was the first domino to fall in this apocalyptic scenario. Imagine one day sound simply vanished. The hum of traffic, the rustling of leaves, the laughter of children all gone. This was not a quiet world, it was a silent one. And in this silence our world began to crumble. This silence had an immediate and devastating impact on society. Communication as we knew it collapsed. The spoken word, music, the simple comfort of hearing a loved one's voice, all became memories of a time when sound was a given. Our lives were governed by sound, and without it, society was left floundering. Daily life was transformed in ways we never could have anticipated. The world became a place of isolation, where even the most mundane tasks were shrouded in an eerie quiet. The silence was not peaceful, it was unsettling. It was a constant reminder of what we had lost. In the face of this silence, survival became a struggle. Without sound, we were cut off from our environment in a fundamental way. Predators became invisible until they were upon us. The food chain was upended. Human beings, once masters of their domain, were reduced to fearful creatures, constantly on alert, jumping at shadows. As we delved deeper into this silent world, the potential end of humanity became a terrifying possibility. Without sound, could our species survive? Or would we be destined to fade away, a silent echo of a once vibrant species? The silent apocalypse taught us a chilling lesson. Without sound, our world came to a standstill. We were forced to confront the fact that sound, something we took for granted, was integral to our existence. In the silence, we lost more than just sound. We lost our world. In the silence, we found our end. It's a chilling notion, isn't it? The idea that our end might not come with a bang, but rather a whisper. It's in the quiet moments that we often find our deepest thoughts and most profound realizations. But imagine a world where silence is not a choice, but an imposed reality. The absence of sound, the inability to communicate, to express, to connect. It's more than just the loss of noise. It's the loss of a fundamental piece of our humanity. Sound is not only a means of communication, but also a way we experience and interact with our world. It's music, laughter, the hum of life. The silence of this imagined apocalypse isn't just the absence of sound, it's the absence of life as we know it. As the world fell silent, so did we, and in the end it was the silence that took us.